Hello everyone, I'm CoolGuy, welcome back. Today I have a discussion piece for you, and it's really nice. I'm just in front of a microphone talking with you. Usually I do in-depth reviews, and things like that take a lot of time. I have to script them out, that way they're easy to understand, easy to enjoy, things like that. Because I really wish I could tell you all the perks on a weapon. I really wish I could tell you the effective range and all the stuff that I talk about in my reviews, but I can't. If I could off the top of my head, it'd be kind of psycho. So for today's video, I want to talk about a possible identity crisis in the Crucible and the future of the Crucible, and what exactly I mean by that. I mean, early Destiny 1, those were some crazy times. We had an AR meta, we had the exotic hand cannon meta, 2-tap Thorn, 2-tap Last Word, we had shot package, we had lucky rounds. It was a crazy time. Even though it was crazy, it was really, really fun. Destiny has gone through a lot of changes. One of those things that always stayed there though was Trials of Osiris, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit as we go on. When they started Destiny 2, they did the double primary system, and I said before the game came out, the only way a static role game can work is if there's hundreds, if not thousands of weapons, because as you saw, when you get a better Devils, it's a better Devils that's a better Devil. There's no real loadout variety. Fusion rifles were in the heavy, shotguns were in the heavy, snipers were in the heavy, so eventually they changed that, and there's a part of me that feels that double primary could have worked if there was random rolls, but since they've introduced shotguns and snipers and fusions into that special category, they can't ever go back. I'm okay with that, because honestly, that's Destiny to me. But for a very long time, they've been trying to balance the sandbox, doing different things, little buffs here and there, and back in Destiny 1, it was a huge shift. It was like, you know what, this is gonna be the meta for the season, or for the quarter of the year, then those are gonna get nerfed, or something else is gonna get buffed, then it's gonna shift. So it kept it kinda fresh when you went into the Crucible. And one thing I wanna stop right now and talk about is that when you go on Reddit, when you see YouTubers, when you go on Twitter and you see opinion pieces and you're talking with your friends in a party, everyone has their own vision of what Destiny is. For some of you, it's the Taken King meta, the House of Wolves meta. Some of you, it's double primary early Destiny 2. There's so many variations of the Crucible, and for one that you might not like, one may love, and vice versa. So there really is no wrong answer, but I do want to start getting into what they've done now and what I would like to see in the future, and it kind of starts with communication. I would like to know their end game for the Crucible, and as they should, they've listened. A lot of the changes in Destiny 2 PvP up to now has either been a band-aid or a quality of life treatment. Meaning, Ursa was out of hand, Spectra Blades was out of hand, Wormhusk when it first came out was a little out of hand, One-Eyed Mask now is kind of out of hand. So they're looking at the data, they're looking at the community feedback, and they're making those band-aid adjustments. They had the big update with random rolls, things like that. So there have been big sweeping changes, but up until right now, what I think that they're trying to do, or at least it seems, and I can give you my thoughts on it, is they're trying to achieve like a perfect balance. And I can tell you this, I don't think at any point in Destiny's history I've ever felt that I can go within the Crucible with any archetype and have a good game. Like back with Hawkmoon and Thorn, after auto rifles got nerfed, there was no way you were even competing. But now I feel like I can go in with an auto rifle, I can go in with the scout, I can go with the hand cannon, anything, and have a good game. So that's a good thing. But for that to happen, there are some things that went into place that players don't like, such as the hand cannon's range recently getting nerfed, pulse rifles recently get nerfed. That opened up auto rifles, that opened up scouts. Take it how you will, but it made it a little bit more balanced. And again, that kind of goes back to what your perfect version of Destiny is. For a lot of players, it's hand cannon sniper, hand cannon shotgun. For others, it's pulse rifle. There are a lot of players that still, even when they were super bad, use scout rifles. That's just how it is. But they do make fine-tuned micro adjustments, such as the pulse rifles recently getting a buff. The 540s got a really good buff, arguably one of the best archetypes in the game. The high impacts like Redrix got a little bit more damage. So they're doing little things, but what I would like to see now, since it's already established that you can fairly do well going in there with anything, they need to start kind of micromanaging the in-between. For a lot of weapons in Destiny 2's Crucible, the extremes are really, really good. Let's talk about the examples. Scout Rifle, Jade Rabbit high impact, Lars Lance, really good. Fast firing like Randy's, really, really good. The 180s, not so good. They have a slower time to kill, aside from something like the box breathing, no feelings. Auto Rifles, Halfdan, high impact, does really, really well. Fast firing like the Reckless Oracle, really, really well. The Braytech, not so much. And the issue with a lot of these is not only going to be their time to kill, it's going to be their non-ease of use. Like with the Braytech, I talked about it in the review, you pretty much need all headshots to achieve a very slow, like 0.93 TTK. When you look at hand cannons, I believe the 110s got wrongfully nerfed and thrown in as a blanket nerf to range. The 110 should have a little bit more range. And when you start looking at the 140s and 150s, I see a lot of spare rations everywhere I go. They're fairly dominant with mouse and keyboard on PC. That's what players go to. And people don't use the 140s because you need to be severely accurate and they kill slower. Back in Destiny 1, let's remember, IS Luna did 86 to the head and 57 to the body. It was a 1 headshot, 2 body shot kill. So I have a clip right here with Memento Mori with Ace of Spades. And what you need to understand, I'm going to talk about it in a later video, since these one-hit kill weapons are in the game. And you can't blame people. Players do everything in their power not to get into a duel with you, whether it be with a sniper, whether it be with a fusion, whether it be with a shotgun. So when you nerf something like a hand cannon range to 25, 26, 27, 28 meters, there's cover, there's a whole bunch of things in the way. That player can use that cover to knee slide, move around, get up in your face, get a 7 meter, 8 meter kill with a shotgun, whatever it is. If not, at least follow it up with a melee. So these in-betweens, as a perfect example for the 140s, since they're killing slower, they're not really used, make their ease of use, their quality of life a little bit better. The same goes for the 180 scouts. The same goes for the 450 pulse rifles. The same goes for the 450 auto rifle. On paper, in game, they kill slower, and most of the time they require almost the same accuracy. So as you're seeing with this Memento Mori Ace of Spades, I'm hitting some body shots. No way I down this player doing the 100% headshot ratio. In most people's hands right now, there would be a spare ration, something like that. So basically, one of the things I want to see is these middle archetypes getting a little micromanagement. Not to make them a faster TTK, that's okay. They can have ease of use, but to make their TTK achievable. The 180 RPM hand cannons are a perfect example. They have a 1 second time to kill, but it's 2 head, 2 body, 3 head, 1 body. I would like for other archetypes to have something like this, and I think that would make the Crucible even better. And for right now, like I said, I feel like I can go in with pretty much any weapon and at least have a good game. Those in-betweens wouldn't necessarily wreck the game, but it would cause a lot more loadout diversity. In my head, I think that this is what they're trying to achieve, and in game, that's what it feels like, and I believe that they're close, and I think they're doing a good job with it. So the next step for me would be kind of micromanage those in-between archetypes. But another thing, and it all comes down to communication. There's been band-aids, there's been like the Forsaken, there's been different things, but I want to know what's next. I would like for a TWAB to come out, a TWAB, this week at Bungie, kind of like how we saw recently with the solar subclass changes, of like, hey, this is where the Crucible is going. And you would think, just by with what they're saying, the feedback that they're trying to get back with the elimination game mode, that something like Trials is going to be coming back, or a similar game mode, because there needs to be end-game PvP content. That's not Iron Banner. And up until recently, the pinnacle content for the Crucible was getting the pinnacle weapons. It would be Luna's Howl, it would be Mountaintop. Those got a little too strong, so now it's something like Randy's throwing knife. That's mainly the higher end PvP thing to do. And to kind of echo what others have said, within the Crucible, there's no real way to get some of the better material, some of the shards, things like that. So that's where something like Trials could come into place, like a 357 and full card completion could get some of those materials. And let's remember, Trials of Osiris kept Destiny afloat for a little bit there. So it works and the players like it. And it's not only just good for the Crucible players, because back in Destiny 1, what would happen, the raid group would take the PvP player through the raid, the PvP player would take the PvE player through Trials of Osiris. It was good for content creators, it was good for a lot of things. But as we see right now, if you've seen on Reddit, if you've seen on Twitter, there's a lot of cheaters. There's fast movements and people spawning immediately with overshields. I don't want that in my game. I know Bungie doesn't want that in their game. They need to get all that straight before they do something big like Trial. But my main thing, and the question I ask you, is what are we doing here? I love the game. I have always loved the game. I play it every single day. I genuinely love it. But that doesn't mean that I don't want more. That doesn't mean that I feel it couldn't be better. And it all kind of starts with some sort of roadmap. It all kind of starts with some sort of end game goal. Like, what are we doing? Where are we headed? So what would you like to see? I think for a lot of players, it's going to be some sort of end game. And I really want Bungie to start communicating what they want to do. Because when they do that, they can get some feedback. Maybe they're kind of subliminally doing that with the elimination feedback that they're getting and different things that they say. But I do know that they listen. Destiny is a big living, breathing game, guys. Think of all the planets, think of all the raids, all the dungeon areas. It's a huge game. They have a lot to take care of. And they said that this season they're focusing back on the Crucible. And that's great. I love that. But let's talk about it a little bit more. In your eyes, what's your plan? What's your vision here? What are we doing? Because this game has a very, very strong foundation. The gunplay feels great. And if there is no plan, it's not like I'm not going to play it because I love the game. I just want a little bit more. There's a whole bunch of fine tuning. And like you look at Hunters, they're the most used class. I use Hunter the most, but I also use Titan and Warlock. The big thing about the Hunter is the movement, and they have one of the best movement exotics in the game with Stompies. Back in Destiny 1, there was Twilight Garrison. So I would hope going forward, there are more movement exotics for the Titan and the Warlock. But again, these are just small things, but they equal a greater thing. But as it sits currently, I would like to know what the plan is. I would like to have a roadmap. I would like to know what they're thinking. And as far as balance, I think that they're trying to just fully balance it, and they've done fairly well if you really look at it. I think the next step is to micromanage and fine-tune those middle archetypes to make them have have a better ease of use because they're longer TTK, have a 50-50 headshot to body shot ratio, or even 30-70. I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. That's just something I wanted to talk about, and as always, you guys have been great about it. Be respectful down in the comment section. Let's talk about this. What do you think? This is just me in front of a mic rambling, and that's okay. But I think that the whole point of it was brought up. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and until the next one, I am CoolGuy.